Hi everyone, so this is going to be my masterclass for iMovie. I just recently got my iMovie uncorrupted, so brand spanking new, haven't done anything in it yet, and I figured it'd be a great time to do a masterclass. So here's what iMovie looks like, and it is only available for Macintosh computers. I'm very sorry about that. It is in the App Store. I don't know why some people get it for free and some people have to pay. I'm not really sure how that is. I get it for free, but I think it's because I've purchased it in the past. But it's like $15, I believe, in the App Store, which is really affordable as compared to many other softwares that a lot of YouTubers use, such as Wondershare, which is around $40, and Final Cut Pro, which is $300. So really, it's cheap. And honestly, you're not going to get a good editor that is free. So this is definitely an affordable option for those users that are looking for something. So this is what it looks like. What you want to do first is you want to import your clip. So you just go here into import, or you can click here in import media. So you're just going to go ahead in and import. So you just click that button. My computer is really slow because I'm working on a really old MacBook, but if you guys have a processing speed that's a little bit better than mine, I recommend a RAM of over 4 gigabytes. Definitely like over 4, but it would be better if it was 8. So I'm going to go ahead in, and I have a clip that I wanted to use. Let's see if I can find it. We'll just use one of these. You want to import the selected footage, and it's going to import into your timeline. So here is your items or stuff that you imported. So then what you want to do is you want to go to new, and you want to go to new project or new movie. So you want to click on that, and this is basically going to set up your iMovie so that you're able to actually edit in it. So it's really important that you do that, or else you won't have anything to work with. Theme, you could choose a theme if you really want, but if you guys are a YouTuber that has some sort of talent, you definitely want to do with no theme. This is more for people that are just throwing in pictures or something like that. So you want to go with no theme, and you want to click create. And you can name it whatever you want. So I'm going to name it tutorial. I don't know. So if you were doing like a DIY or whatever, you would put whatever the name of the footage is. So then it should transition into something that looks like this. Right down here is your timeline. So this is where your actual edited items are going to go. Here is all of your files. So it would be your video clips or pictures or whatnot. Over here you have some options. So you have transitions that you can use, and we'll get into those. Titles, maps, iTunes, sound effects, and GarageBand. Over here, you're able to increase and decrease the size of things. So I'm going to go back to here. You can increase or decrease the size of your items down here if you wanted to. So let's just go ahead and start by selecting our video. Okay, so here's our video. You want to click and drag and select it, or if you just want a part of your video, which is usually what a lot of people do, so like this would be your raw footage, you would just go ahead in and select what you need. So let's go here, and you would just go ahead and you'll see this little I guess yellow thing, and you're just going to take that and drag it to what you need, and then drag it here into your timeline. And this is what it's going to look like. And it may take some time to load. It kind of depends on how fast your computer is, how much RAM you have, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so then now that you have your clip here, you can increase or decrease the size of this. Basically, it's like a zoom in for your video. So you can zoom in and see all the little bitty details, or you can zoom out. I like to keep it somewhere in the middle. I think that's the best option, to be honest. So here, if you see these little waveforms, this is your sound. And what you can actually do is if you don't want the clip or the sound in your clip, you just take this and drag it down until it says 0. If you did that by mistake, go ahead up and drag it back to 100%. Say your video is really super quiet, you didn't really pick up good audio, what you can do is actually drag it up all the way up, and it'll increase your audio really far up so it's really loud. But don't do that if you have good quality audio, because then it's literally going to make people go deaf. So keep it at 100 if you're happy with what it is. So I'm going to bring it back up. Actually, I'm going to bring it down so it doesn't play while I'm editing. So then up here you have some tools. I don't recommend pressing enhance. It's basically an auto enhance feature unless you like the way it looks. Most people don't. But here are your colorizing tools. So right here, this is your white balance, your skin tone balance, etc. So skin tone balance, you can click on that. Most people don't really play around with this because it actually will change your whole video. So I don't recommend playing around with that. Here is something that you can play around with. If you guys forget what each thing is, you can hover over each dot. So this is the shadows. So if you bring this down, it's going to make the dark parts really, really dark. So you probably don't want to do that too much unless you have like a really bright video, then you can go ahead and do that. The second little one here is the contrast, so you can increase the contrast or make it darker, whatever. And then in the middle here we have the brightness, so you can make it nice and bright or kind of darker or in the middle. It kind of depends on what you are looking for. And then here we have the highlights, so this makes the light parts bright. I don't really recommend playing around with this too much. Then over here is your saturation, so if you wanted to make things a little bit brighter or whatnot, you can do that, but I wouldn't go too far up because then you start to get those orange tones, and that's never fun. Then over here is if you want it to be cooler temperature or brighter temperature. So a lot of trick that people do is they increase the saturation all the way up and then they cool it down so that the skin tone isn't like orange. You guys know what I mean. So you guys can play around with that. For some reason her eyes are like super duper crazy, and I think it's because I played around with the contrast. So yeah, don't don't do that too much, but just for the purpose of this video, we're going to leave it at the way it is. You guys can go back in and edit it as you please, whatever. Here's the crop tool, so if you needed to like crop it so that you only wanted a certain thing in your video, you could do that, and you would just go ahead in and crop it, I guess. So if you want to go ahead and, hold on, let me show you if I can. So you go to crop to fill, and then you would drag it. You can't like adjust these for some reason. You have to make it like this square. So if you wanted to have it like this, you could do that and then just click the check mark and it'll zoom in. Your whole clip will be zoomed in. Okay, next is, this is kind of like your stabilization. So if you shot a video handheld and it's really, really shaky, you could just click and stabilize the shaky video. I don't have a shaky video, but you could do that if you guys wanted to, and it'll help with that. Here's the audio. You can make it higher or lower, whatever you wanted. Here's the reducing of the background noise. I only really use this when I'm outside. It doesn't really work that well, but you guys can try it if you wanted to. And then over here is the speed. So if you wanted this to be like really fast or slow or whatever, you can go ahead in and click on this and you can make it fast, slow, or custom. So here I just made it fast. So now when we play it, it's going to go like super fast. And then you could also reverse it in that same little area here if you wanted to have it like play backwards. A lot of people use this like when they like jump off things or they throw things, and it kind of looks like they have like superpowers. But yeah, and then you can make it 2 times faster, 4 times faster, 8 times faster, or 20 times faster. 20 times faster is going to be like super duper fast. So here is 20 times faster. My computer hasn't even loaded it yet, so you won't even be able to see it, but sorry, I just had to adjust something. Yeah, that is the 20 times faster. It like goes by in a blink of an eye. So I recommend don't doing it too fast. And again, you could do custom, so if you don't like what it is, you could do, like 250% instead of like jumping up to something crazy. Then over here you have your video effects. You can use these if you want. A lot of YouTubers don't actually end up using them because sometimes they're like a little bit like, I don't know, like weird. But yeah, these are all these crazy effects, and you guys can see them like if you hover over it. So that's the black and white, beach bypass. You can flip things. You could play around with those if you wanted to. A lot of people don't use them though. Then audio effect, you can change your audio. So a lot of people use the pitch up or the pitch down. Pitch up is to make like the chipmunk noises, and pitch down is to make the like the low, deep, like manly voice. And you guys can just hover over it and your video will play and you'll be able to hear that. And then info is just information on what it is, kind of thing. So now let's go into kind of editing. So now that you have your clip here, which we've made it fast, so I am going to zoom in just because it is a faster clip here. And again, we're going to go back over here to where we learned before is the zoom in tool. So if you find where you want to like edit something out, like say you like misspoke or something, you can go ahead in and you just right click and click split clip, and then move your cursor to wherever you want to delete, split clip, and then you can go ahead and select that clip and click delete on your keyboard to delete that segment within your video. So you're able to do that. Another thing is if you like did something and you want to make it like look like it's a picture. So say I wanted to freeze it here, you just right click and add freeze frame. So now when you play the video, it kind of like pauses on that area where I made it pause, and you don't have to do that. That's almost, some people use it, some people don't. It's kind of just like a preference of whatever you wanted to do. So yeah. Then we can go in and we can do transition. So here we have this split area, and if we wanted to transition and make that nice and smooth, because right now it's just gonna jump. So we can do a whole bunch of these. There's a whole bunch of different ones built into iMovie, or you can use the green screen transition, which I'll show you guys how to use as well. So I'm just going to use a simple slide left. So what you would do with these built-in ones, they make it nice and easy. You just kind of put it between the two areas. So now when you play it, it's going to just kind of like move over. Now, if you guys were ever wondering why it kind of glitches, it's because, number one, I'm working on a really bad computer, and number two, it takes some time for it to actually load into iMovie. So we'll play it, and we missed it again. You can kind of see it. I don't know why it's not playing yet, but we'll come back to that and I'll show you guys. But it does work. There are transitions in here. But I don't know why it doesn't want to show up for you guys, but you can kind of see when I hover over it. There you go. You can see that it'll transition. So then if you wanted to add a title, you can go ahead here into titles, and they do have built-in ones again. But if you wanted to like add your own title, whatever, you could actually go into PicMonkey and you would just drag it in to iMovie and just have it like that. But these are a whole bunch of built-in ones. I usually just use the basic. There are some that are like animated and stuff, but you can actually animate it yourself, which I'll show you really fast if you guys are interested in that. But yeah, I usually just use a basic title. There's a ton of different crazy ones in here though, like drifting, zooms, I don't know, different things. Yeah. You guys can see them all here. There's plenty of things to choose from. So I'm just going to use standard. And this one does kind of like expand and everything, but I'm not sure why they got rid of the basic one. There used to be a basic just like plain in the middle one. I'm not sure why mine's not showing it, but I'm just going to use standard. So you would drag that and you would put it over top of your text or your file. So now when you play it, it has that font or that text on there. So then you would go ahead in, make sure you have that selected, and you can go ahead in and go to the text tool. And if you wanted to change the type of font, just go ahead in here and pick whatever one you want. And if you guys if you have like ones that are downloaded onto your computer and you don't see them here, click show fonts, and then you'll be able to kind of choose whichever one that you want from your font library. So I like to use Babus, so I'm going to choose that and then just choose it. So now that it is, I believe it's Babus, yeah, okay. So I would just go, I'm going to go here and put hello. And go ahead here to Beavis. I'm going to delete these out because I don't really want them, so you could do that. And then you can increase the size of this to however big you want it, or need it, or whatever. So this is what it looks like. There's your font, or your text, I'm sorry. And it still hasn't loaded, so please. I'm sorry, I'm filming this on a really bad computer, but you guys get the general idea. So next we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you guys how to insert like music or whatever. You would just go here into iTunes. If you guys have music, you can drag it in and just drop it. I personally don't have any music right now, so I can't show you. You can also do sound effects, which are some built-in ones from iMovie. So there's like all these different ones here. There's a bottle cork, which a lot of people use for when things pop up in their video. So you just take it and you drag it to where you need it. And then when you play it, it like pops. Okay, so now you can see the transition. There you go. There's your pop. There's your transition. So that's how you use those. I wouldn't play with anything else in here, to be honest. And that's pretty much your basics. So then if you want to, like, if you're getting good with iMovie, and you're like, okay, this is really boring now, I want something else that's not like just basic, then here is where my channel comes in. I have a whole bunch of editing effects, transitions, etc. So if you guys are looking for different transitions than the ones that are actually provided here, my channel is the bomb for that. So I'm going to go ahead in and I'm going to find a transition from my computer that I actually just created, and we're going to show you guys how to use it. So I'm going to go ahead in and let's choose that you like, and you can go ahead and download it. I use SaveDeo. A lot of people say you get viruses, so do it at your own risk or find your own YouTube video downloader. Okay, so here we have the clip that is in the beginning and then a clip that we want to transition to here. So what you do is you take one of my green screens, and you might have to like trim it in the front if it doesn't start automatically, and then trim it at the end. So you want to click on it, have your cursor where you want to delete it, and split the clip, and then delete this out. So the way this particular transition works is you guys can like kind of hover over and see how it works. Basically, it covers up the first clip and then it'll uncover the second clip. So you just have to place it correctly between these two. So it's not as easy as the built-in effects, but it's definitely really, really cute and not something that you're going to get from the built-in transitions. So you just want to take this and drag it over top. Another thing is you can't use this on a clip that has a lot of green in it because it will key out the green. So keep that in mind. And basically what you want to do is you want to have it kind of cover up right in the middle of your clips. So kind of right about there should be good. And you want to select this, and you want to move your cursor to somewhere where there's a lot of green, and select the clip, and go up here and go, instead of cutaway, you want green screen, blue screen. And sometimes this will like key out the wrong thing, so you can go ahead and kind of redo it. But now when we play it, so we'll go ahead and we'll play. I want to wait until that is at 100% or it's the full circle before you actually go and look at what you've done. Basically, it's just like rendering it and whatnot. So you can check that out. But if you guys can tell, sometimes it will change the color of the actual like effect color. That's just kind of how it works. If you guys are really concerned about that, you can click on it, go to hue and saturation, and you can bring up the brightness or the vibrancy or whatnot if that's something that concerns you. And you could also kind of like change it around if you wanted it to be, I don't know, different shades or whatnot, you can. But just gonna wait for this to go the full. Next, we'll show you how to do the PicMonkey tutorial. So while this is loading, let's actually start that. So what you would do is you're going to go into your browser. I like to use Chrome. Chrome is the best for PicMonkey. If you guys don't have Chrome, definitely download it. It's probably the best browser out there. You're going to go to picmonkey.com. That's P-I-C and then monkey. And then go ahead in, and we're going to use that to create our own custom title. So you guys saw that the titles aren't that great. So we are going to actually create our own. And you guys can download fonts from dafont.com. I have a few that I really like to use, so you guys can do whatever you would like. But this is kind of how to create your own title effect that it doesn't look bland and like crappy. So you want to go over into design, and for the purpose of this, I'm just going to go ahead and use the square. So you want to go ahead and click that, and we're going to get started. So the first thing you want to do when you're doing this is make it transparent. There are options. You guys can do it as a green screen if you wanted to, like make the background green and then key it out. However, I would definitely recommend doing it transparent. If you remember, or if that's the way you want to do it, definitely make it transparent. So I'm sorry, my computer is running so slow. So you want to go over here and click transparent canvas, and it should pop up right away. Go into the text effect, and you guys can create kind of like whatever you want. So if you wanted it to be a circle, or I don't know, whatever you really want. But you can go into text, and PicMonkey has built-in text options for you guys if you wanted to do that, or you can use some of the fonts that you download from something like dafont.com. So if you want to do that, you want to go to yours. Some people say that yours doesn't come up or whatnot. Make sure you're using Chrome. I find that that's the best way to make sure that they're going to show up. But other than that, I can't really help anyone. But I'm going to use Luna. I'm just going to click add text, and I'm going to put in just tutorial or something like that. So you would put in whatever you wanted to put in, and put tutorial or whatever. You can change the color of this, whatever. This isn't a PicMonkey tutorial, so I'm not going to go into detail. But you would just kind of create it as you would want it to be in iMovie. So I'm sorry, this is again so slow. And then I'm going to go into the overlays, and I'm going to go into the geometric, and basically this is just like going to be a little like square or a box behind it, and you guys can change the colors and be creative. This is a really cool place to be creative, so do that. And then change the color. Okay. Drag it out. So slow. This is why you need good RAM. This is why investing in good RAM is very important, especially if you are a YouTuber. Okay, then right click, and I'm going to send it to the back. Okay, this is good enough for me, if you can. There's also a JPEG, which I'm not sure if it's transparent. We will see. Okay, it's fine. You can save it as that and save it to your computer. Okay, then you can X out of this and go back into iMovie. So now, if you want to do your text, I'm going to get rid of, or I'm sorry. There you go. Okay, so you guys can kind of get the idea of what it would look like. And again, better RAM. This RAM is terrible. There it goes up. And then if you guys can see, I'll just have to page through it. It will come down like that. So this is what it will look like. So it comes up, and then it comes down with a new video. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. To delete it, you just select it, click delete on your keyboard. So I'm going to put our tutorial text here. So you can either go to import, or what's really nice with iMovie is you can go into your Finder, and you can actually like drag things in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's see, I don't remember where I saved this thing. Okay, here it is. So you would get your text, and you would just go ahead and drag it into your timeline and drop it. And you'll be able to see what it looks like automatically. So here's what this is looking like. Okay. And what you want to do is we're going to go in and we're going to do, I believe it's picture in picture. You want to just make sure you're selecting your text when you do this. So it shouldn't be a cutaway. It needs to be, I believe, picture in picture. Let's see. If it'll load. Okay, now you have the picture in picture, which allows you to drag it and make it as big as you want it to be. Okay. Then when you put it where you want it to be in the beginning, you want to drag your little cursor over here to where it begins, and it's going to fade in. If you don't want that, you just get rid of the fading by clicking on this little dot and dragging it out, and it's going to unfade it on both sides. So now it'll just kind of like pop in. So what we're going to do is we're going to animate this, and so you want to click your cursor in the beginning of your clip and click on your text. Okay, and you want to make sure you're selecting this little box tool. And what you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're going to add in keyframes. So we're going to drag it back to the beginning, and if you want to see this little tool here where it says add a new keyframe, click that once, press play on your keyboard, stop it, and then you can move it around. So with iMovie, unfortunately, we can't rotate it like you can in Final Cut, but you can still do some things if you wanted it to be kind of like a hovering effect. So it's really easy to do that. You guys can play around with things like that. You could also do it for pictures, the same process and whatnot. So now that we've done kind of like most of what you can do in iMovie, what you're going to do is you're going to export it or save it. So you're going to go up to the top, and you're going to File, and you're going to go to Share, and you might be tempted to go like to YouTube. Some of them have YouTube. You don't want to do that. You want to go to File. And then what you want to do is there's a few settings that come up. You want to make sure the resolution is 1280 by 720. You want to make sure the quality is high. I'm going to uncheck Add to Theater. I'm going to click Next. Save it as whatever you want it, and just click Save, and it's going to save to your desktop as a nice quality movie where you can just go ahead and add it into, you know, YouTube or whatever. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys how to do a voiceover really fast. So what you would do is you want to go to wherever you want the voiceover, and you're going to go in, and you want to go to View, and let's see, maybe you don't want to go to View. Hold on. Okay, Window, and record voiceover. So I can't record it while I'm doing this because I'm using my microphone already. But basically what happens is a little box will come up, and here you go. And you would just go ahead and click this, and it'll go 3, 2, 1, and then you start talking, and it'll record, and it'll automatically go right into your timeline. So that's that. If you guys mess up on a voiceover, just delete it and you have to redo it. I'm not gonna, it's like really hard to explain how to edit it and stuff, and really it's not that good at doing that. Another thing is if you don't like this timeline, there's this thing called a wrapping timeline and snapping. So I'm gonna take this full movie and I'm gonna drag this in, and we'll make it big. So what happens if you have a really long video is that it just keeps going and going and going, and to me that's really annoying. So you can go into Windows and you go into View and then Wrapping Timeline, so then it'll kind of make it more compact and you can kind of page through it. Also, if you're having that problem, you can try zooming out like we've already learned. Another thing is snapping, and you want to make sure snapping is on, because basically what that does is it allows you to, when you're editing, to clip two videos together a lot better. So let me show you an example if I can. So I'm going to split and split. So say I wanted to move this on top of this. When I have snapping on, when I do that, you'll see it kind of like has this little yellow line that comes up, and it'll kind of show you, and it'll snap to where it needs to be. So now let me turn snapping off. Okay, so I'm going to go to View and uncheck snapping. So now it's unchecked, and now when I try to do that, nothing comes up, and I just have to try to like place it where I want it to be. So I definitely recommend having snapping on. It will make editing a lot easier. So I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions, let me know down below in a comment. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm sorry it was so long, but it is my master class. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.